Have you ever noticed how the world feels different after midnight? Like reality shifts, and suddenly the shadows aren't just shadows anymore. They're watching. Tonight's theme: strangers in the dark. 2 stories, 2 very different nights, and 2 sets of footsteps that should never have existed. So buckle up, lock your doors, and remember, if you hear someone walking toward you at 2 a.m., it's probably already too late. Or, hey, maybe it's just your Uber Eats driver. Who knows? Let's begin. Story 1. The bus stop. It was 2 a.m. when Daniel realized he'd missed the last train. The streets were empty, just wet asphalt shining under sickly orange streetlights. He trudged toward the bus stop, shoving his hands in his pockets, muttering curses at himself. The bus stop was deserted. No shelter, just a lonely metal pole with a faded timetable. The kind of place where you start questioning your life choices. He leaned against the sign, scrolling his phone to kill time. And that's when he heard it. Footsteps, not far away. The crisp sound of shoes against pavement. He looked up. Nothing. Just an empty road stretching in both directions. Okay, he muttered. I'm sleep-deprived and paranoid. He went back to his phone. Then, the footsteps again. This time louder, closer. Tap, 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 like someone approaching steadily. He whipped his head toward the sound. The road was still empty. No cars, no people. And here's the thing. The sound stopped the second he looked. Daniel laughed nervously. Cool, yeah. Love it when invisible joggers hit the night shift. But when he stepped off the curb, pacing a little in frustration, the footsteps vanished completely. Silence. When he returned to the stop, tap, tap, tap. Now his heart rate wasn't laughing anymore. Minutes dragged by. Every time he stood still at the bus sign, the unseen footsteps would start. Always slow, always deliberate. But when he stepped into the street, they stopped, like he'd broken some kind of ritual. He tested it. Stand at the stop equals footsteps. Step away equals silence. Return equals footsteps again. Like someone was pacing toward him in lockstep, but refusing to be seen. His skin crawled. It wasn't just creepy, it was targeted. Daniel considered walking home, but it was miles away, through unlit neighborhoods. The bus was supposed to arrive in 12 minutes. 12 of the longest minutes of his life. At this point, he was bargaining with himself like every horror movie idiot does. Okay, Daniel, it's just your imagination. Maybe acoustics. Yeah, the city's echoing your own steps back at you. Totally normal. Not haunted, not stalked. Just science. Then the footsteps started again, but he hadn't moved. He stood perfectly still, phone shaking in his hand. The steps came closer, deliberate, heavy. Tap, tap, tap. He squinted into the shadows beyond the streetlights. Nothing moved, but the air felt charged, like something was there just beyond his vision. Finally, headlights appeared. The bus. Salvation. Daniel bolted into the road, waving like a lunatic. The bus slowed, hissing to a stop. He glanced back at the bus stop and froze. For the briefest second, under the glow of the flickering streetlight, there were 2 sets of shadows on the pavement. His own, and another right beside him. By the time he blinked, it was gone. He didn't wait. He leapt onto the bus, slumped into a seat, and never looked back at that stop again. And here's the kicker. When he checked his phone later, the audio recorder he'd left running, yeah, he wanted proof, had captured the sound. Footsteps, getting louder, louder, until the bus arrived. And then a whisper, barely audible. Next time, don't leave. Would you wait at that bus stop again, or would you walk 10 miles home barefoot just to avoid it? Because personally, I'd rather get mugged by raccoons on the way home than hear invisible footsteps in the dark. Story 2. The Highway Rest Stop. Now, if you think the bus stop was bad, wait until you hear about this one. It was 3 a.m. when Emily and Josh decided to pull into a highway rest stop. They were on a cross-country road trip, exhausted, eyes burning from caffeine and bad gas station hot dogs. The lot was empty. Just a few dim lamps buzzing overhead and vending machines humming like broken robots. They parked, reclined their seats, and tried to sleep. For a while, all was quiet, until they heard it. Footsteps. At first, just one or two, then a steady rhythm. Someone was circling their car. Josh sat up, heart pounding. He scanned the lot. Nothing. Empty asphalt stretching into darkness. Emily whispered, "Maybe it's a security guard?" Josh nodded. Yeah, sure." But the steps were slow. Too slow. Circling. Deliberate. Like whoever it was wanted them to know they weren't alone. Every time Josh turned on the headlights, the sound stopped. When he killed the lights again, the steps resumed. Round and round. Crunch. 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 Gravel shifting just outside their car. Josh grabbed the steering wheel, ready to bolt, but Emily begged him to wait. It could just be someone passing through. Passing through at 3 a.m. in an empty rest stop, walking in circles like a shark testing its prey. Sure, Emily, totally normal. This is the point where most of us would be like, "Yep, that's it. Guess I live in this Honda Civic now. Forget rent, this is my home." But they stayed. The footsteps grew bolder, dragging closer to the windows. Josh swore he saw the faintest outline of a hand brush against the glass. "Okay, we're leaving." He jammed the keys in the ignition, but the car wouldn't start. Click, click, click. Dead. Emily was sobbing now, clutching his arm. The footsteps circled faster, like a dance, round and round. Finally, Josh slammed the horn. The blaring echo tore through the night. And just like that, silence. The lot was still again. Too terrified to move, they sat frozen until dawn. When the first sunlight broke, Josh finally stepped out of the car. And that's when they saw it. Every window, driver's side, passenger side, back seat, was smeared with handprints. Hundreds of them. Different sizes, some small like children's hands, pressed from the outside. But here's the worst part. The prints weren't dusty or greasy. They were wet, as if someone had pressed damp, clammy skin against the glass. And when Josh bent closer, he realized they weren't handprints at all. They were prints missing thumbs, like something had been circling their car all night, pressing its hands against the glass. Hands that weren't quite human. And in the daylight, the vending machines were still humming, like nothing had happened. But the car? Yeah, they sold it the next week. Because once your ride has been touched by whatever that was, you don't just Febreze it and move on. So, strangers in the dark. A bus stop shadow that walks when you don't. A rest stop predator that leaves its handprints behind. Both stories share one lesson. If you hear footsteps after midnight, don't wait to see who they belong to, because chances are they don't belong to anyone you want to meet. And hey, if you do meet them, at least you'll have one hell of a story for my channel. Remember to lock your doors, trust your gut, and whatever you do, don't look back.